We're not just opening doors. We're opening our hearts, waiting for a safe and healthy world. We keep our hearts open. Today, as any other day, you are in our thoughts. Our hearts are always open.
We came to Korea to celebrate the 3rd anniversary of our marriage and spend some time healing. This will make my body comfortable.
I feel a bit nervous.
It gets warmer and warmer around my belly button. Wow, these are all made from Korean traditional medicines.
Scrub made with ginseng. Now this is Korean beauty. They say the heat is generated from fermentation of 3 million microorganisms.
You need to do this here.
Wow, you can play with your bracelet.
Have you seen tantrics like this?
I think we're really becoming quite Korean. Wow, the inside is on fire. How can it get this hot indoors?
Have you ever experienced healing like this?
We have. This is Korea.
I've always wanted to try a PC cafe in Korea. There's so many Wi-Fi options here. How do they have such fast internet connection on public transportation? Hey, go back, please. This internet is so fast without any buffering. Whoa, look at this place. Are we the CIA? Are you ready to game?
Damn it.
Let's do it. Oh, I don't know. You can order food here. They even have a store that says, and dessert too? You can do everything indoors. You know where we are now?
Oh, aren't you at a restaurant?
No. We're in a PC cafe.
That's crazy.
Look at this place. This is so real.
What are you doing?
We came to play VR games. Look at them. It's so real. You guys have to try it.
Good.
Have you ever experienced IT heaven like this? We have. Because this is Korea.
everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We are here in the cluster coordinate city in Busan, the Republic of Korea. How did you feel the first seasons of the Korea? It's really beautiful first season. So we just enjoy the real face of the Korea. I'd like to send my appreciation. Join and contribute for our cluster meeting, the learning for health and well-being. Highly welcome to the GNLC cluster meeting. And also, we are the one team. We are the collaborated one GNLC cluster. Today, in the honorable occasion, I will serve as a moderator. My name is Choi Un-shil, working as a full professor of the Aju University. Also serving as a current chair, UNESCO EAC, expert advisory committee for the 5th ICLC, and also served as the UIL vice chair of the governing board immediately before, and also served as president of the National Institute for Lifelong Education. Particularly today, webinar focus on the theme strengthening cities' resilience through citizens' active participation, self-governing activities, and networking. How do we overcome the COVID-19 pandemic? How can we strengthen the resilience of the city's power? We will discuss from now. From this webinar, we really looking forward to get a meaningful and fruitful result through our active sharing of the experience among cluster cities. First of all, as a pre-conference opening session, we enjoy the Koreans at a glance. Now, we will start our full-fledged opening session. First of all, I would like to invite Osan's great mayor, Mr. Chang-wook Hwak. He will deliver the warmest, impressive opening remarks for learning for health and well-being. Please.
Distinguished members of UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Kwak Sang-wook, the mayor of Osan City, Republic of Korea. We are coordinating the Learning for Health and Wellbeing cluster. I wish I could shake your hands and greet you all in person, but we are holding this event online due to COVID-19, so please understand this. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Learning for Health and Wellbeing cluster cities, and I would like to express my gratitude to Mr. Joe Kavanagh, the Lord Mayor of Cork City, who has served as the coordinator city for the last 2 years, and the director of the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, Mr. David Ajuarena, for the strong support for successfully holding this event. Also, thank you, GNLC member cities. Our cluster project is now almost reaching the end. Through the first webinar hosted for 2 days from December 3rd to 4th last year, we explored the topic of project and had the valuable opportunity to get to know each other better. Today, Osan City is holding the second webinar. I hope that on this occasion, we can take one step further towards the conclusion of this project, which is to develop applicable policies of learning for health and well-being of global learning cities. I would also like to propose our future direction as sustainable and healthy learning cities by discussing how to maintain our network after the project is closed. Then, let me announce opening of the 2021 webinar, Learning for Health and Well-being. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor's opening declaration for our today's meeting. Next, I will ask encouraging remarks of the chairperson of the City Council of Osan, Mr. Jang In-soo.
The Global Network of Learning Cities, I'm happy to meet you today. I am Jang In-soo, Chairman of Osan City Council. Under the topic of learning for health and well-being, we are hosting this webinar, and I'd like to congratulate you on behalf of Osan citizens. If it were not COVID-19, we could invite you to our city and meet together, but it is unfortunate that we can only meet through online. Likewise, COVID-19 has brought many changes to our life. Vaccine has been developed and vaccination started in many different countries, but experts said that mankind and COVID-19 virus will live together in the future. In the post-corona era, contactless digital lifestyle will only be accelerated and will be settled deeper in our daily life. Also, we need to make a new awareness about the harmonious the coexistence between the nature and humankind. We have to make a better attention to these problems. Such a paradigm shift is now requesting us to make new changes in our learning environment. Therefore, we have to think about the meaning of lifelong learning that gives happiness to the lives of the citizens. And in this context, this webinar is really meaningful. We are going to share best practices and experiences about the learning for health and well-being of different member cities. And we will talk about the planned policies so that we can make a new model for lifelong learning. Last but not least, I want to once again thank Mayor Kwak Sang-wook of Osan City and GNLC staff members for their efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. In-soo Jang. We really fully, deeply accept the Osan citizens, the warmest mind, welcoming mind. So I would like to again thanks for the welcoming and congratulatory remarks. And next, we will invite Lord Mayor Joe Cabana, Island Cork. As all of us already know, Cork is the coordinate city for learning for health and well-being with Osan City. So I would like to ask the deliver of the welcoming remarks from the Councillor Joe Cabana.
Learning City friends around the world, as Lord Mayor of Cork City, I want to send warm greetings to you all, to our hosts in Osan, to members of the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities, and our fellow members of the Health and Wellbeing Cluster. I want to acknowledge and thank Mr. Kwak Sang-wook, Mayor of Osan, our fellow coordinator city, and to thank him and his educational city team for their work to host today's event. I want to formally acknowledge the director of the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, Mr. David Acho Arena, Learning Cities Program Coordinator, Mr. Raul Valdez Cotira, and Christina Drews from the UIL team. We are very happy to support the work of Osan as host of the second formal meeting of the cluster, and to welcome again colleagues who have joined with us in building connections between our cities and between our people. The past year has challenged us all as global citizens, but it has also been a time of enormous learning, of innovation, and of opportunity. I want us to ask the question now: what do we need to learn from the global experience of the pandemic? And how can we support each other's health and well-being in a holistic way at city, country, and global levels going forward. In the UNESCO Cork Call to Action on Learning Cities, we as mayors committed to develop our cities to be more equitable and inclusive, to support decent work and entrepreneurship, and crucially, to become green and healthy learning cities. The theme of global goals, local actions remains our vision in Cork. We understand that these goals can only be achieved through a strong and committed partnership.
It is really impressive. The message from the Lord Mayor, Giovanna. Thank you so much. We remember when we meet in the island Cork, the third International Conference on the Learning Cities. The slogan was, think globally, act locally. That's the reason why we are here. Think globally, act locally. Again, thanks for the Lord Mayor of the island Cork. And now we would like to move to invite the Genesis Big Father, UIL Director, David Achuarena. Let's meet his inspiring opening remarks. Please, David.
Dear Mayor Sang Wok Kwak, dear Lord Mayor Kavanagh, dear Chairman Mr. Jiang, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to welcome all of you to this second virtual conference of the UNESCO Global Network of Learner Cities thematic cluster for learning, for health and well-being. I thank the city of Osan for hosting this conference and for being one of the two coordinating cities of this important cluster. Cities around the world continue to be deeply affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. During this difficult time, dialogue and mutual support among learning cities is of tremendous importance. I'm impressed by the many impactful activities conducted by learning cities, which have shown how lifelong learning can support health and well-being during this pandemic and beyond. The program of today's meeting will address how lifelong learning can contribute to the protection of our environment and of our climate in ways which lead to well-being. Nature, environment, and well-being are closely interconnected, and cities want to explore more about this relationship. Today's speakers will highlight how digital technologies can support learning for health and well-being. Furthermore, civic activists who have supported the most vulnerable during the pandemic will share their experience. In just 5 months from now, at the end of October 2021, we will hold the 5th International Conference on Learning Cities. We decided, together with the host city of Yeonsu in the Republic of Korea, to dedicate the conference to health and well-being, its title being Learning for Global Health, Pandemic Response and Future Resilience. We selected this topic for 3 main reasons. First, cities are at the front line of the current health crisis and are key to overcoming the pandemic. Second, urban policies have the capacity to improve health and well-being at the local level. Third, the GNLC, as a global network of cities, constitutes a powerful tool for exchanging good practices and lessons learned towards further improving health and well-being and for building resilience. In the current sanitary context, the conference is planned as a blended meeting, combining events in Yeonsu and virtual components. We, of course, very much hope that by October, it will be possible to welcome many participants in Korea. But thanks to technology and the capacity of Yeonsu as a smart city, technology will allow us to ensure a wide, inclusive, and interactive participation. Building resilient and healthy cities lies at the heart of sustainability challenge for the 21st century and beyond. Learning cities demonstrate how lifelong learning contributes to address this challenge. The UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning looks forward to working with you to achieve this goal. I would like to thank again the cities of Osan and Cork for their dedicated efforts towards making the work of this important cluster a success. I wish you all a fruitful meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The David Achuarena delivered for us the congratulatory remarks. In particular, he mentioned about, although we are all deeply affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, but we are very strong. We are still stay very strong and safe, even in this moment. Again, thanks so much, the David congratulatory remarks for our meeting. Now, I would like to move to the good memory of the greetings from the member cities. Greetings of the civic activists and the field workers. Why don't you meet? They're so enjoyable, wonderful, saying hellos with video, okay?
Hello from Cork Learning City. Thank you to our host, Sosan, and hello to all our colleagues in the GLNC Cluster for Learning for Health and Wellbeing.
Hello, my name is Denise McMorrow and I am the co-chair of Dublin Learning City. On behalf of Dublin Learning City, we are delighted to be part of this wonderful cluster on health and well-being. Never more important than today do we realise the importance of our environment, of digital technology, and also community activism. We are committed to lifelong learning in the city, and we put the learner at the heart of all of our initiatives. Together, we can overcome any obstacles that are presented to us. With warmest wishes, and thank you very much. And until we meet again, goodbye. Thank you for listening.
Hello, and greetings to you all from the city of Belfast. We are a UNESCO Learning City. We've been in the network since 2018. We look forward to collaborating with you all in the future. Best wishes.
Bonjour, de Mantes-la-Jolie en France. Merci Osan.
My name is Balaji Nemet, and I warmly welcome you on behalf of Global Learning City Page Program.
Hello!
Hello from Windsor City.
Hello from Bogota. Hola desde Bogotá.
Chiang Thailand, Sawadee Krao.
Sustainable Sahagu Busan. So we would like to give everyone cheers up. We would like to cheer up everyone. Welcome. This is Gwangju City of South Korea. Welcome everyone. Hello everyone. We are from Jincheon-gun. We are the activists in the area of safety education. We provide safety education to the members of the villages. We are from Injae-gun. We're civic activists. Nice to meet you all. Hello. We're from Dobong-gu. We're civic activists. Hello, everyone. We're from Gangnam-gu. We're civic activists in Gangnam-gu. Nice to meet you all. We are civic activists in Osan시.
Oh, we really enjoyed the all over the world travel by the virtual modality. Wow, Cork, Dublin, Belfast, Montellajoli, Orem, Peach, Ban, Camille, Iran, Windham, Bogota, Chiang Mai, Sahagu, Republic of Korea, Gongju, Jincheon, Inje, Dobong, Gangnam, and finally, our coordinate city, Busan. We met so familiar colleagues' face and their say hello and their energetic and active greetings. Really, it's wonderful. So I'm so happy. Next, I would like to invite our great, the mentor and the real expert for the GNSC and the Learning City team serving in the UIL, Dr. Lau Valdez Cotera. Please.
Dear mayors, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to welcome you all to the second virtual conference on the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities thematic cluster for learning for health and well-being. Thanks to the city of Osan for hosting the conference. I want to recognize the coordination role that the city has been playing together with Cork as coordinator of the health and well-being cluster. While all forms of society and collective entities have been affected by the pandemic, cities have been at the epicenter in terms of combating infection and dealing with the immediate implication of this public health emergency. By their very nature, cities are home to large populations and therefore conducive environments for the spread of a virus such as COVID-19. However, by the same token, they are uniquely positioned to respond to the crisis created by the pandemic. Representing cities as entities, municipal governments can work closely and directly with local people, including vulnerable groups. They are an additional entry point to reach people and engaging them as part of the solution through risk communication and public health messaging and advice, as well as by sharing guidance from national authorities and local partners. In pursuit of effective education responses, many cities have mobilized cross-sectoral resources and are promoting, supporting, and developing a variety of initiatives to ensure continuity of education and equip the empowered citizens with tools to face the crisis. For instance, in addition to schools, many non-formal learning institutions, such as community learning centers, libraries, and museums, have played a vital role in supporting citizens in coping with the pandemic. Various community learning initiatives, such as learning neighborhoods, study circles, and family learning, have been mobilized to support the diverse learning needs of all citizens. The social dimension of lifelong learning has also been emphasized during the pandemic by showing the strength of families, communities, neighborhoods, and cities, with people learning how to take care of themselves and of others. Importantly, this calls for the inclusion of vulnerable population whose experience of inequality have intensified during the pandemic. As the world continues to respond to and recover from the COVID-19 pandemic, the Learning Cities members of the cluster will continue to contribute to the development of lifelong learning strategies in connection with learning for global health, well-being, and future resilience. Furthermore, cities have an important role to play in designing and reinforcing initiatives for related thematic areas, including education for sustainable development, citizenship education, entrepreneurial. To proceed on this path, we need to continue sharing relevant program content and experiences across multisectorial contexts. As all of you know, the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, in collaboration with Jeonsu City in Republic of Korea, will organize the 5th International Conference on Learning Cities from the 27th to the 30th of October 2021. The 5th International Conference provides an opportunity to mobilize, reinforce, and share the successful experiences of cities across the world, so that cities and the spaces they inhabit are better able to cope with continuous change and to build resilience for tomorrow. In the same context, demands for new knowledge and skills to deal with an unprecedented situation are greater than ever. How can urban health education tackle the global challenges and opportunities? Or how can lifelong learning equip people with sufficient knowledge and skills for health and well-being? The conference will provide the opportunity to share experiences, facilitating knowledge exchange on global health education cities. Would this include showcasing cities' response to the COVID-19 pandemic, their actions to improve resilience in their face to future crises, and the sharing of good practices among the member cities of the GNLC. Directions for further policies and programs to promote health and well-being in cities through lifelong learning will be consolidated in the conference's main output documents. It's on that basis that I'm pretty sure that today's conference will provide important inputs for making these changes happen, driving transformation towards the implementation of healthy and resilient cities. Once again, I would like to thank the cities of Osan and Cork for their dedicated efforts towards the promotion and coordination of learning for health and well-being at the local level. Welcome you to this conference and look forward for your participation. Thank you.
Big thanks for your delivering the opening remarks and also the current status and the global trends of the learning for health and well-being. Most of the UIL staff friends introduced about the 5th ICLC will be held in October 27 to 30 in Yeonsu City, Republic of Korea. So we would like to continue our session in October as a season 2 or the season 3. So thank you again of our UIL colleagues. They addressed the vital role of the cities and the citizens, activists in the community level. So now, today, we will discuss about what's the crucial role of the citizen for our creating the learning city towards the healthy and the well-being learning. Now, I would like to next big guest from the island Cork, Mr. Dennis Barrett from the island Cork. He will deliver the lessons from 2020 Health and Wellbeing Cluster webinar held in Island Cork with a virtual modality. I would like to invite Dennis. Could you please?
Learning City friends and colleagues, I'm pleased to present a report on the online conference and meeting of the UNESCO Learning for Health and Wellbeing Cluster, hosted by Cork over 2 days in December 2020. Supported by UAL and organised with OSAN, this was the first formal meeting open to all 36 cities participating in the cluster at that time. This event also built on previous meetings of the 2 regional subclusters led by OSAN for cities in the eastern half of the world and by Cork for cities located in the west. And in the context of the global pandemic of 2020, the work of the cluster and that of the conference took on added significance. The conference itself was opened by the Prime Minister of Ireland, on Taoiseach Micheál Martin, on day 1, with messages from the mayors of Cork and OSAN. And on day 2, by our Minister for Foreign Affairs, Simon Coveney. Our fantastic speakers and contributors, 30 in all, are listed here. In effect, we were collectively looking back from 2020, exploring what Learning City responses to the pandemic and other health and wellbeing actions could teach us. And we were looking forward to examine the role that learning for wellbeing can play in supporting the resilience of city populations. Our methodology to explore these was a mix of 4 elements. 1, presentations of good practice, examples and inputs from 14 learning cities through pre-recorded presentations or short videos. 2, a reflection on the results of a global survey undertaken by UIL. 3, a moderated discussion by a panel of international, national and local experts. And 4, a series of workshops moderated in Korean, French, Spanish and English to allow for more engagement. To aid our communication of the key themes and our conclusions, we have used the following symbols in the report, with the added symbol of the SDG circle used to represent cross-sectoral integration. So, to our conclusions. What can we say we have learned from the deliberations over the 2 days? We offer 4 key lessons informed by different sources and all with their own value. The first conclusion to emerge concerns the role that citizen activists can play and have played in the successes of learning cities in relation to improving the health and well-being of their populations. This was evident in response to the pandemic, but also in a range of other examples. And in particular, this applies to inclusion, where citizens can successfully get health or well-being messaging to the most vulnerable populations, whether in France, in Portugal, in the United States, or in Korea. And this theme will be discussed on our agenda for today. Our second conclusion is related to our younger citizens and emerged from good practice examples of engagement with young people shared by a diverse range of cities. This indicates that our cross-cutting theme of youth deserves a much more central focus in our thinking. These examples demonstrate the powerful role that youth activists can play as leaders in relation to health and other matters among their peers, in their families and communities. Added to the observation that the lockdowns, extended social isolation and learning remotely have all had a strong negative effect on this age group, our cities should now take the opportunity to engage with young people, to work with their peers, to address their needs before we can move forward to a post-pandemic era. Our third conclusion is drawn from a range of perspectives across the 2 days, reflected in the workshops and from the survey, but in particular, it was striking how strongly the expert panel and our guest speakers, including voices from WHO and UNESCO, focused on this lesson, that cross-sectoral, integrated approaches are not just a better way, they are the only way to respond effectively to societal challenges. No one sector can do it alone. The pandemic has shown us, or indeed reminded us, of this vital lesson. And while it was so evident from the past year, this must not be forgotten post-pandemic. Instead, it must be used as a principle to effectively deal with challenges at city and global levels. Our fourth and final conclusion comes from the perspectives of learners and communities, and it speaks to a simple truth, that learning is good for your well-being. We heard that a positive experience of learning has helped people, including people suffering with anxiety or difficulties with mental health, to cope and to be resilient during the pandemic. This simple truth is restated here so that the power of informal and non-formal learning can be more fully appreciated and shared. And this is a lesson that our learning cities can implement. It offers a way to practically contribute to building resilience among citizens, in communities, and thus in our cities. I want to thank all of our partners in the conference and all involved in our collective effort to build an informed and engaged cluster of learning cities for health and wellbeing across the world. Full recording of each day is available on the Cork Learning City website, and UAL have shared the city videos and presentations, so please take a further look. I want to acknowledge here the team in Cork, especially our lifelong learning coordinator, Siobhan McCarthy, for all her work in this. Now I would like to close with the voice of a learner, a citizen learner, himself a member of a vulnerable community in my own city, who offers us this lesson to take away for 2021. It's very uplifting and very stimulating to be learning. I find it very good to be doing something very good for the mind, and it's brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dennis Barrett. I remember you're addressing the point, looking back, looking forward. Based on the current present situation, we will relieve you of the looking back and also the go ahead for the looking forward. Think globally, act locally. Looking back and looking forward. And Dennis point out the 4 key lessons. The role of the citizen activity and focus on youth, integration across the society sectors. Learning is good for well-being. Today's season 2 discussion, we will continue discuss about this issue and we will expand and do our best for continuous our debate for next moment. Again, thanks for Dennis Barrett's conference report. So wonderful. Thank you. Next is the our introduction to health and well-being. Who is the cluster member cities? Utilizing the PPT files, I would like to introduce our member cities. Okay. Cluster cities is the current cities 34. And this year, newly added the 13 cities and 2 coordinate cities. So the total is the 49 member cities we have. Today, all the members would like to join this conference. And also, some of them is now joining the presentation and the panelist roles. The first city of our members, Municipalidad de San Jose, and Escacho, and Villa de Cans, and Manque de Jolie, Clermont-Ferrand, Evie, Concourne, Dermy, Asin, Elesfina, and Nia, Smilini, Belfast, Samos, Hungary Peaches, Dublin, Anadia, Cascas, Alcobendas, Bogota, Glasgow, Nikopol, Wolverhampton, and Republic of Korea, Gangnam-gu, Yeoncheon-gun, Incheon-gun, Sahagu, Jincheon-gun, Dobong-gu, and Windham City, Giza, Kasan, Hashgat New Town, Taku City, Japan, Balanga City, Philippines, Chiang Mai, Thailand. These are the current existing our cluster member cities. And the newly joined 13 cities is as follows. Vietnam Binh, Fargona, Izmir, Balikesir, Chiang Mai, Alcora, Gwangju, Ram, Triste, Isfahan, Bandar Khamir, Bantah, Alger. This is the newly joined, newly welcomed new member. And other 2 coordinate cities, as you know, Osan and Cork is our member. So we are the one team and we need very strong collaboration and networking. It is not an end of the conference. It will be a starting point. Our long lasting working will be continued. Why don't you welcome and big hands with our members? Okay, from now, I would like to move to the thematic presentation. The first session will be led by the Osan, Republic of Korea. Osan City will discuss and introduce about the learning for environment and climate-related health and well-being. You can meet very interesting best practices from Osan City's case. Please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am the mayor of Osan City, Kwak Sang-wook, to present Sustainable Green City. The Republic of Korea started vaccination for the people from February and aims to achieve herd immunity against COVID-19 by November, but there will be many potential crises after COVID-19. A representative case of such crisis would be climate change. Last year, Republic of Korea experienced the longest ever rainy season for 54 days, which was soon followed by severe typhoon, where many people were displaced from their hometown. Nature that once provided us with comfort and relaxation is now posing us a crisis. In this circumstance, Osan City puts priority on climate response policies and make our policies aligned with the central government's policy called Korea Green New Deal by declaring that we will achieve carbon neutral cities along with 226 cities across the country. That is, we aim to achieve de facto net zero emission by reducing the amount of CO2 as much as the amount of CO2 emitted. So we're creating green space to absorb the emitted CO2. Our citizens who will actually put these initiatives into practice are the key to achieving carbon neutrality. For the last 10 years of learning, we committed ourselves to fostering civic activists to join these initiatives. Now we have 2,400 civic activists that amount to 1% of the total Osan population. They're engaging in all citywide policy activities. Since 2018, we have implemented the citizen-driven initiative of small farms, a kind of urban homesteading. Under this initiative, we created small urban garden in many places of our city, offering a beautiful landscape. This effort started from 2018. Our citizens voluntarily began to create small gardens in the city. We finished 49 such gardens in 2018. Until now, we created 88 small gardens, and we plan to create 32 more gardens, which will all amount to 120 gardens across the city by this year. Especially the gardens in Semat Village and Mehwa-ture Village received the honorable awards of Beautiful Village Award and Excellent Village Garden Award from Gyeonggi Province Beautiful Urban Garden Awards. We also plan to implement a Osan landscaping project, which is tentatively titled Angel's Garden Project. In 2022, we will host Gyeonggi Province Garden Culture Fair to widely spread the garden culture, urban regeneration culture, and community culture. Through the Green City Project, driven and participated by the citizens, we will create eco-friendly spaces where our citizens can have a visually and emotionally pleasant experience. This will contribute to achieving carbon neutrality and offer a healthy environment for the citizens to preserve and enjoy the nature. Healthy citizens who enjoy lifelong learning and are capable of responding to difficulties in a flexible manner. Healthy and resilient city based on such citizens. This is our city, Osan. As a coordinated city of the GNLC cluster for learning for health and well-being, Osan City will continue its efforts to research, discuss, and implement measures to achieve green learning city. Thank you very much.
Wow, it's really amazing. The outstanding best option selection of the Osan City is the Green Learning City. We really enjoy the best practices of the village learning garden movement and also the carbon zero campaign. The most important crucial factors is the civic citizens activities. So the networking and the empowerment of the civic field workers is the very important point. Thanks again, the introduction of the Osan cities, learning garden, best practices, and also the Osan green learning cities. And the second thematic presentation of the session, first session is the Iran Bandar Khamir. It's also so amazing and interesting. Why don't you join the Bandar Khamir best practices introduction?
شهر بندر خمیر شهری 20,000 نفری و در استان هرمزگان در جنوب ایران قرار گرفته. این شهر قدیمی ترین و بزرگترین سکونتگاه در جوار تالاب بین‌المللی خونخورانه. تالاب بین‌المللی خونخوران بزرگترین و بیشترین جمعیت مانگروهای کشور رو به خودش اختصاص داده. تالاب بین‌المللی خونخوران از ذخیره‌گاه‌های زیست‌کره ثبت شده در یونسکو است که اهمیت بسیار بالایی در واقع برخوردار هستش.
بین‌المللی خونخوران دارای عناوین ملی و بین‌المللی بسیار زیادی است.
به دلیل موقعیت زیست محیطی حساس این شهر فعالیت‌هایی برای افزایش آگاهی مردم در خصوص تالاب و نحوه حفاظت از اون و بهره برداری خردمندانه از تالاب آغاز شد. فستیوال‌ها، رویدادها و جشن‌های مختلفی در سطح‌های ملی و بین‌المللی در این شهر برگزار شد تا مردم را راجع به ارزش این تالاب آگاه بکنه. روز جهانی تالاب در این شهر با شکوه هر اجتماع‌تر برگزار شد و با حضور شخصیت‌های ملی و بین‌المللی و در حاشیه این جشنواره همایش‌ها، مسابقات، رویدادها و نمایشگاه‌های مختلفی برای آگاهی رسانی بیشتر به مردم انجام شد.
چه اساسی در شکل‌گیری ستاد مردمی مبارزه با اونها را داشته. همچنین جهت ترویج و توسعه گردشگری پایدار و تقویت اقتصاد بومی محلی اقامتگاه سنتی مختلفی شروع به کار کرده که اقامتگاه سنتی تکو یکی از اونهاست.
مرکز احیای صنایع دستی و هنرهای بومی با نام سنچه با حمایت شهرداری شروع به کار کرد تا بتونه علاوه بر احیای این هنرها از تولید کنندگانش هم حمایت بکنه و اونو سر پا نگه داره.
فرهنگان این شهر کار تدوین دانشنامه بومی محلی این شهر را در حوزه‌های مختلف این شهر شروع کردند که در نتیجه این دانشنامه حاوی اطلاعات تکمیلی در حوزه‌های مختلف زیست محیطی، جغرافیا، تاریخ و محیط زیست و مشاهیر مختلف در حوزه‌های مختلف متنوع دیگری بود که توسط استاد سید عبدالجلیل قطالی گردآوری و توسط کمیسیون ملی یونسکو حمایت و رونمایی شد.
اول لنج موزه افتتاح شد تا مردم بتونن با دریانوردی تالابی آشنا بشن. از فعالیت‌های خلاقانه و مبتکرانه زیست محیطی میشه به رستوران طعامچوبی بازیافته گارگوب اشاره کرد که علاوه بر مکانی برای تفریح مردم جایی هست که ما بتونیم به اهمیت مردم به زیست و تالاب اشاره بکنیم.
این اقدامات گوشه کوچکی از خیز و همت بلند مردمان بندر خمیر بود تا در کنار کلان شهرهای بزرگی چون تهران و اصفهان به جمع شبکه شهرهای یادگیرنده یونسکو بپیوندد و مردم ما و شهر ما در واقع یک شعار رو دنبال میکنن و آن این هست که با داشتن مردمی آگاهتر شهری آبادتر خواهیم داشت.
Wow, really impressive. The one of the crucial point of the successful movement of the Khmer Iran, I think the awareness of the public citizens and the mindset of the citizen, very active and strong mobilization of the citizens movement. It is one of the big precious point of these cases. So really wonderful. And we could benchmarking from the Osan and Iran's Khmer best practices. From now, I would like to invite the question and answer session. The first of all, I'd like to suggest question to the city of Osan. We really enjoyed the Osan's learning garden and the village garden movement for the carbon zero movement. And through the learning city, there are a lot of the citizen-based, citizen familia movement is now launching. How do you think about the major, crucial strengths of the Osan city? How did you mobilizing the citizens networking and mobilization of the citizens voluntary mindset? Could you please give us the answers from Osan?
학습도시의 가장 핵심인
The key of
사업을
learning
만들어가는
city is
것은
to achieve
여러 면에서 장점이
engagement of
있습니다.
the citizens. We have a lot
정원
of
사업을
strengths.
하면서 느낀 것은
First of all,
어느 사업이나
in our garden
마찬가지겠지만
project,
사업을 만드는 것보다
like
유지
any
관리하는
other
것이
project,
더 중요하다는 것입니다.
maintaining and managing the project is
정원이라는
more
것은
important than
살아있는
just
생물로
initiating the project.
사람의 손길이
Our
지속적으로
garden
필요합니다.
project requires
유지
continuous
관리를 제대로 하지
supervision.
않으면
If we
다른
don't
사업
maintain
명령을
and
제공하기는커녕
prepare the
오히려
garden
미관을 해칠
project,
수도 있습니다.
it will, if
하지만
things go
우산의
wrong,
정원 가꾸기
it will
사업은 시민들이 조성할
do
때부터
negative impact
함께
on the
참여를 하다
environment. But
보니
in our case,
유지 관리를 할
citizens
때도 애착을
voluntarily
갖고 자발적으로
participated in the
활동할 수
garden
있습니다.
project, and they are
또한 가족과
voluntarily
이웃이 함께 마을
maintaining
정원
this
사업을
project,
함으로써
and families are also joining this
가장
village garden
중요한
project.
시민의 공동체 의식을 높이는
So
효과를
citizens
경험하고
came to have higher
그것이 가장 큰
awareness
장점이라고
on the
생각합니다.
spirit of community. That's the biggest strength, I think.
The Osan's case, she answers. Also, creating and building the project is very important. But the more important is the keeping it and keeping the sustainable development. I agree. That is the one of the best strong point of the Osan city. And move to the next question for Bandar Kamil, Iran. What are your upcoming plans to spread the concept of the sustainable development in your city, which has a sensitive ecological position? Could you please give some answers?
Hello again. Thank you very much for your great and hot from Osan. So we have a long-term and short-term plan for developing our city based on sustainable concepts. So we prepared a long-term planning as a strategic planning in 10 areas that covered all needs of our city in learning objectives, especially in environment raising awareness. But we cover all other areas in learning, such as formal and higher educational, tourism, occupations, art, all of that, health, all of that areas are covered, and we share this plan to other related organizations in our city to make them more involved in this process. It's my experience, our experience in our city, and I just sent this document to the UNESCO to may be published in the one publication. And second one is about the short-term plan. We have a joint project with UNESCO that is concentrate on educating and empowering youth and women, especially on livelihood, sustainable livelihood. It's our short-term plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We can learn from the experience of the Bandar Kamil. You mentioned about the long-term master planning and the mid-term and the short-term planning. It is very important strategic point of the Bandar Kamil. Again, thanks for your so wonderful answers.
Thank you.
Next, we will
Well-
move to the thematic presentation, second session. The theme of the second session is the learning for health and well-being through the use of the digital technology. Nowadays, in the global trend, we can easily find digital-based, digital-founded approach for the learning city sustainability. So we would like to invite Colombia, Bogota, Dr. Sara Valencia, please.
Health professionals and citizens in Bogota can find 26 virtual courses on our platform Aprender Salud to improve their professional skills and their citizens' health competencies. The massive use of virtual education allows access to contextualized knowledge created directly by the Secretary of Health. The pandemic has forced all health agencies worldwide to implement record time strategies, pushing new activities to educate on the prevention and management of COVID-19 at home and hospital. The Secretary of Health has trained more than 40,000 health professionals in the management of COVID-19 infections. Also, more than 2,000 health professionals have received training on mental health, humanized care, coping with grief and loss, and biosecurity. In this way, the resources created by the Secretary of Health has strengthened the competences of our health professionals. The Care Promoters strategy aims to empower citizens to create caring environments to prevent COVID-19 contagion and create a new social and environmental contract in Bogota. The strategy connected economic and social sectors such as shopkeepers, pharmacies, and taxi drivers. The strategy impacted more than 40,000 people over 6 months, creating an open dialogue about care and how people can develop self-care routines. The Secretary of Health, in 1 year, completed more than 6 million interventions to educate communities on the management of COVID-19. The time capsule, My Stories in the Pandemic, aims to capture through artistic expressions how people experienced the pandemic and resignified their lives. As a result, we are seeing a historical moment through the lenses of our citizens. Also, we are reflecting on individual and social transformations induced by the pandemic, and we are creating a public dialogue on how we experienced the city, our families, and the relationship with ourselves.
I deeply impressed with the Bogota best practices and activities. They choose the wise strategic policies, including the storytelling time capture policies and the advocate of the social care and the connecting strategies from the grassroots level to the top, including the marginal people and alienated people's care movement. This is the good point of the benchmarking. Today's our meeting is so meaningful and precious. This kind of the finding of the best practices, strategic planning. And next, I would like to ask the Gangnam, the Republic of Korea, Metropolitan Seoul, invite Mr. Jung-chul Yang. Please deliver your case.
Hello, I am Yang Jung-chul from Gangnam of Seoul, South Korea. I want to talk about learning for health and well-being through the use of digital technology and how our district is doing right now. So right now, every person is now wearing mask because of COVID-19 and social distancing is happening. So because of that, people stay inside their home more than ever, and contactless education platforms are used more than ever. So in many different cities, you may use Zoom and YouTube, and we are also using these platforms for education and learning programs. First, we have that cooking class. So that's used to come to the cooking lab to learn about cooking, but now we are using Zoom to teach them how to cook. And this is talent donation education called How to Use Smartphones. We must have smartphones these days. So we are using the screen sharing function to teach how to use smartphones. And we used to host many special lectures with people gathered inside the room, but we are not using Zoom. In Gangnam, there are many art galleries. Actually, you have to visit the art gallery to look around the artworks, but it's not easy. So together with the event from the art galleries, we gather a small group to give the Gangnam art tour. But because of COVID-19, we cannot host these tours these days. So we are just launching this program online. And this is a World Scholarship Online Lecture. While promoting many contactless education programs, we expanded the scale to invite a chair professor from Columbia University, Professor Jeffrey Sachs. Next, I want to talk about the Lifelong Education Network. So we are currently working together with the experts in the relevant organizations, and we share lifelong learning cases, and we learn and research, and we benchmark each other through our network. We used to do that, but because of COVID-19, we are refraining from having such offline meeting, and we are having more online meetings, as you can see here. So by doing so, we are utilizing more contactless tools and platforms. This is Padlet. It is an interaction tool with which we can have better and easier communication with learners. In the past, we gathered about 20 people to promote some programs, but now we are breaking into smaller groups, and we gather inside and outside to promote these activities. Lastly, through contactless learning and education, we are continuing our efforts. Even after the COVID-19 era, I believe that we must utilize both online and offline education to give more education opportunities for the citizens. This is the end of my presentation on Gangnam. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your inspiring introduction of the Gangnam-gu Lifelong Learning City plan, particularly utilizing the digital technology, Zoom, YouTube, one-person media, and smartphone. A lot of the vast utility of the media and the digital device. It's very interesting point. How did you, can you imagine about the dead cooking class and the virtual online gallery? I know the case of the Peach of Hungary, they're utilizing online gallery and online cultural performance activities. But in Korea, it is very unique and so wonderful selection for Learning City. So again, thanks for the Gangnam-gu city's wonderful presentation and the introduction. Let's move to the, again, Dublin, Ireland. We would like to invite Ms. Emma Murphy He will deliver the learning for health and well-being through the use of digital technology. Please deliver.
To launch the Creative Arts Summer School, and it's a really exciting initiative which we're collaborating on with our partners across the PATH network. It's a week where young people from across all aspects of society get a chance to come into our partner organisations to test and experience for themselves what an education in creative arts might feel like and be like.
Students spend one full day in each campus, and they have taster workshops in the types of creative arts work that goes on.
So basically it's one day in NCAD, it's the next day in Marino, another day in UCD, another day in IADT, and finally a day in Trinity College, all in 1 week. I think it's a fantastic opportunity.
Take it in, see what I can make from it, and take my own twist from it, and make my own masterpiece in the future.
We want our higher education institutions to reflect our community and to reflect society. We also want to increase participation and diversity within the creative arts sectors in college and then broadly into creative industries.
It's very hard to gauge for perspectives what's actually involved in a course. So it's great for students to be able to come in here and see what it's really like. And even just the atmosphere of the college, it's quite open and relaxed.
So there's a range of supports available for students in UCD and all colleges in Ireland, and those would include things like exam supports, additional learning supports, and also assistive technology and training on how to use those assistive technology tools.
We want to make sure our students are set up for success after college as well. So we'll do a lot of work making sure that they have forged connections in whatever workplace they want to go to afterwards, that they know how to write a good CV, interview skills, even if they want to continue with their education, how to go do a master's or go on to a PhD, whether that's in Trinity or somewhere else.
Going to school, studying, and then in the middle of sixth year, you're picking your CEO choices, and you're going, well, what does this actually entail?
I took part in it because I didn't know what I wanted to do in college or where I wanted to be. So I think doing the Creative Summer School really boosted my confidence in terms of approaching people and seeking support and help. It helps you at college, helps you communicate with people and how to approach people.
The highlights would be kind of being able to get a different vibe for all the different colleges and kind of narrowing down where I wanted to focus my efforts. And it's just great to be able to hone what you're really into.
It's a great experience, and that you get to meet great people doing it.
We did the animation workshop and the film and TV. And the film and TV was very hands-on, and we got to operate the cameras and do all that type of stuff. So it was very practical and exciting as well.
I really enjoyed the overall experience of the course. It was great to come up for the week to Dublin and get a taste of what it's like to go to college in Dublin.
It really helped me a lot this week to be myself around other people that I've never met before.
It's really important for us to work with schools, to work with community groups, to work with further education sectors, and to really raise awareness of the creative opportunities that exist.
The brilliant thing about the Creative Arts Summer School and the PATH programme in general is that there's possibly a route for everybody. And our job is to help people actually find their roots back into education. We think it's a really positive message, and we hope people have fun while they're doing it as well.
This place needs you. You're needed, you're wanted. Have faith in yourself, and you're needed and you're wanted. So we hope to see it in NCAD and across all the institutions in the future.
Really, it is a new model for university and community collaborative model. The traditional role of the university is just for the young generation and the regular course-based and the degree-based. But in this case, we can find covering the all age, from the womb to tombs. Everybody is a client for the university, third sector, further continuing education role of the university. So it's also amazing and very inspiring cases. We can learn a lot from this case also. Thanks so much, Ms. Emma Murphy and the Dublin's case. And the next is the Portugal ORAM. We remember the wow when we introduced the group greetings from the ORAM. So I would like to invite the ORAM's thematic presentation. How do your best and customizing best practices for these issues? Please.
Com as condicionantes impostas pela pandemia de Covid-19, o município de Orem tem incentivado a população de todas as idades a manter um estilo de vida saudável e ativo através da prática regular de atividade física. Utilizando as redes sociais do município, foi efetuada a partilha diária de vídeos com exercícios adaptados a todas as faixas etárias, como forma de promover a saúde e bem-estar da população. Esta estratégia deu continuidade a uma política de proximidade com os munícipes, que diariamente desfrutaram de exercícios oferecidos por profissionais qualificados, cumprindo as regras de distanciamento social. Partilhamos alguns momentos dessas aulas online, que mostram locais emblemáticos do nosso território, numa harmoniosa relação entre natureza, património e a prática de atividade física.
Ok, sim senhora, uma salva de palmas para todos, para si que está aí desse lado e que nos continua a acompanhar diariamente. Não se esqueçam, o município de Orem está a ser fantástico em promover todos os dias aulas para vocês, para se continuarem ativos e saudáveis. Espero que tenham gostado da nossa sessão, aproveitem o espaço à vossa volta, procurem sítios relaxantes, porque de facto é possível fazer este tipo de exercícios, seja em casa, seja no exterior. Por isso não há desculpas, não é preciso terem grande material, é possível praticarmos este tipo de movimentos, seja em casa, seja na rua, não é, Jéssica? É verdade. Portanto, arranjem companhia dos vossos maridos ou as vossas esposas para ficar mais motivante, mas de facto tentem então acompanhar e seguir o nosso exemplo e os nossos desafios, está bem?
E aproveitem os dias de sol que nos dão mais energia para vir para a rua e fazer como vocês veem, só precisamos de um muro, umas árvores e estamos aqui a treinar na rua com esta tranquilidade. E não se esqueçam, só é possível fazermos isto se vocês estiverem aí desse lado. O município de Orem dá-vos tudo aquilo que vocês precisam. Um beijinho para vocês e estamos de volta na próxima aula.
Um abraço, apertadinho. Até um dia destes.
In the midst of the Corona blue, they really enjoy the sunny weather in outside near their own house. So this is the stay strong, stay safe. So I envy their covering all age groups lifelong learning city policy, and also the learning for all. How can we overcome the pandemic? How can you recover the harmonious relations with nature and with the family and with your colleagues in the society? It is also very inspiring and impressive cases. So we can share and we can learn each other. We can teach each other. So now I would like to move to the questions to the cities. The first, the city of Bogota. The pandemic was such a challenge for everyone, and the ministry have been very innovative. Is there a future plan to deliver more actively online programs in the future to help deal with mental health effect and the coping strategies? Could you please give us the wonderful answers from Bogota?
Hello, everybody. Good morning from Bogota.
Yes, definitely. We have new plans to deliver new courses on mental health. This will be virtual, not just for health practitioners, but also for citizens. So that is part of the strategy and the agenda on this year. But also we are doing some interventions at the hospitals. And also we are managing with the group of the University, National University of Colombia and the Philharmonic Orchestra in Bogota to do also an intervention on humanization at some hospitals also in the city, so to address these issues. And this is in the framework or the program of the city of Bogota on mental health. This program has 4 different lines on promotion and prevention, the management of risk at the individual level and to prevent the use of drugs, all the knowledge management strategies and to strengthen the capacities of people, and also some transversal processes that are important for the public surveillance of mental health. So we are contributing to this program on the line of knowledge management and the training of the professionals. So yes, we have that. Thank you for your question.
Really big thanks for the good answers. The one of the crucial motive is the multi-sector utilization of the community. For example, the university and the hospital. So I think the outstanding strategy is the multi-ways, multi-sector approach of the learning city, and also the capacity building of the leaders and the community, citizens, field workers is also very important strategic selection. Thank you so much. And second, I would like to move to the question to the Gangnam-gu city. There are a lot of the networking and also the practitioners of the field workers will be drastically growth, and they day by day they are experience the change and they meet the innovative approaches. Could you share your city's unique model and the strategies for facilitating civic field workers and the citizens networking? Do the practitioners really grow and change through the lifelong learning cities networking activities?
네, 만나서 반갑습니다. 저는 오늘 주제
Hello, nice to
발표 때
meet
다
you.
소개해드리지 못했던
I want to
평생교육
take this
네트워크에
opportunity
대해서
to
이야기를
explain
해드리고자
about the
합니다.
lifelong
저희
learning
네트워크는
network
관
that
주도
I could
및
not explain during the
사업 중심이
presentation.
아닌 참여자가 주도하는
So this
평생교육
is
정책
led
및
by the
활동 지원을
participants,
위해
not by the
강남구
government.
내에서 평생교육
And
기능을 수행하는 기관 및
many
단체의
relevant
실무진이 참여하는
organizations and
네트워크입니다.
staff
이
workers are
네트워크의
actually
목적은
involved in this network.
단체 간의 유기적인 협약체계 구축 및
So
기반을
our
마련하고
goal is to
실무자들의
lay a
역량 강화를
foundation
통해
for further
평생학습
collaboration
참여자들이
and
건강하고 품격 있는
the
평생교육 서비스를
educators
누릴 수
and then
있도록
the
하기
participants
위함입니다.
improve their quality and abilities so that they can enjoy
네, 저희
lifelong learning
네트워크는
together.
2017년부터 현재까지 모임을 지속하고
So we
있습니다.
started in 2017
매월 정기적인 모임을
and every month
가지고 있고
we are having a
2018년에는
regular
두
meeting.
개의
In
그 평생교육
2018
트렌드 연구 분과 그리고
we
평생교육 기획
broke into
두 개의
subdivisions
클래스터로 나누어
and two
참여자들이 원하는
clusters
곳에서
so that
모임을
the
지속하고
participants
있습니다.
can continue
이
their
네트워크
meetings
활동을
under the
통해서
topic that they want.
예년에 비해 협력 사업 건수가 5배 이상 그리고 자원 공유
So
건수가 2배
our
이상 확대되는
sharing
성과가
increased by 2
있었고
times and participation by 5
참여했던
times
실무자들이
since then.
평생교육을 좀 더
And
공부하기
then
위해
the
자격을
participants, in order
취득하거나
to
대학원에
learn more
진학하여
about the lifelong
학습하는 경우도
learning,
있습니다.
advance to
이렇게
higher
네트워크
levels of
활동을
education
진행하면서
institutions.
업무 능력 또한 향상되고
So with that, they
평생교육
could
전문가로 한층
improve
더
their
성장하는 계기가
capabilities,
되었다고
and
합니다.
they said
네,
that that was a good
감사합니다.
opportunity to upgrade
Thank you so much
themselves.
for your specified and detailed answers for the question. Typically, your approach is the grassroots levels participants in the civic workers mobilization. And one more, the point is the organic close relationships among the citizen voluntary workers. It is very important point. And to be the capacity building, they choose the self-designed learning and the continuous and further their study and the study circle, even in the university and other communities. So thank you so much for your good strategic approach. It's very helpful for other learning cities activities. Thank you so much. And the third question is for Dublin. How is the program beneficial for the learners' health well-being? Could you kindly explain how digital technology is a part of the course and why it is beneficial for the learner? Please give some good answers.
Good afternoon, everyone from Dublin Learning City. I'd just like to firstly thank the organisers from the cities of Osan and Cork. It is fantastic to see examples of best practice from the other cities. So the Creative Arts Spring School programme is really important for learners' health and well-being, as it boosts the confidence of the learner and engages them in the higher education system. It also relieves tensions that a learner may feel as they transition from secondary level to tertiary level, but most importantly, it helps the learner to meet friends and to build a community, which has such large benefits for their mental health and well-being and wider wraparound benefits for also their physical health. All of the institutes who are involved with the Creative Arts Spring School are very aware of the deep connection between art and digital technology. So they ensure to leave a selection of modules within the programme that deal with technology. For example, graphic art and design, film and movie studies, and also exploring with technologies that deal with medicine and science that we saw in the video. This year, the Creative Arts Spring School was held solely on Zoom, which is really beneficial for learners to learn that skill now, as it is so important going forward into higher education and also labour markets. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I can find a good solution from your answers. You can address the importance of the confidence of the learners. Even in the other learners, they have not much confidence. So we need, when we mobilizing the civic field workers and the civic activists, we need to ensuring and the capacity building of the field workers' confidence. So this is one of the most valuable point of the Dublin's case. Thank you so much. And the first question, I would like to send my question to Orem, Portuguese, with initiative to show online fitness classes in heritage locations in your city being such a success. Do you think your city will do something similar online for the future health and well-being campaigns, even post-pandemic? Could you please give some answers?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you and congratulations for all this organization. Of course, we want to continue. It was a success, and the success of this sports online was on the moment, but until now, people, as it was recorded for our Facebook media, people still continue looking at it. That's why we want to continue, at least also because it was videos from historical places. And like these people had the chance to do sports, but also to visit and have the cultural side of this knowledge of our city. We believe that even the people that looked in the past for this video want to see more, and we can reach a lot of people with videos, because some of the senior people could not go to the sports place, even go out from houses, and these videos permit them to have access to sports, even staying at home. That's why our ORAI, of course, want to continue with these videos and these sports, online sports.
Thank you so much. I would like to send my full support and send the big hands for your very strong willingness to continue the online and the post-pandemic in situation. Your city will continuously support for the sustainable development of the city in the midst of the corona pandemic. Okay, and now we had better to take a very short break. During the break time, you can enjoy the Green Learning City Osan's live videos. After 5 minutes break, we can meet again. Thank you so much for your active participation for our session. Thank you. Have a break from now.
여기 상상하는 도시가 있습니다.
This is the city of imagination.
아이들의 목소리가 정책이 되는 도시.
Voices of children are reflected in the city
교육을 통해
policies.
시민 한 사람 한 사람이 촘촘히 연결되어 있는 도시.
Every citizen
세상은 상상하지 않으면 존재할 수 없는 순간이 있습니다.
the world could not exist.
도시는 무엇으로
What do
성장할까요?
you think grows a city?
상상하는 우산.
Osan, the city that imagines. We imagine. City of education where all villages serve as schools. City of administration participated by citizens. City of culture connecting all citizens. Imagination enables a city to meet with the wider world. Osan was a small city with lower access to education. Now it's the model of innovation of public education. Now, Osan is the representative city of education in Korea. Citizens are preparing for their life until the age of 100 through education. We are moving towards to the city that will exist for over 100 years. Osan City collaborate with worldwide cities of learning. The imagination of a city grows the children as confident citizens. This is the place made with imagination from children, and that creates the value of our city for the future. We listen to the voices of children. We became the children-friendly city designated by UNESCO. We grow with children. We have another imagination growing in the city. In this place, Korea's first indoor miniature theme park is being established. It covers the modern history of Korea and the festivals and famous tourist attractions of the world. Regardless of the age group, all people can experience culture in this exhibition hall. Safety counts the most. Flooding, typhoon, earthquake, and fire are the accidents we may come across in our daily life. Regarding safety, we have established safety experience zone Here, children and people can receive safety education and have the first-hand experience of safety.
So the wastewater treatment center has now reinformed itself as an education space. This edutown called Odok Odok has places where people and animals can communicate together. It has the special parks, cafe, and theme park, as well as treatment facilities. It provides psychological treatment connected together with the animal. Here we have a plaza of imagination. We pay attention to space where nobody has paid attention, and we found new possibilities. And we are now transforming itself into educational place, and this imagination has become reality. Busan City Ecological Center is now available. Children can learn about history, the nature, and experience advanced IT and fourth industrial revolution technologies. This is the new project to diversify the public spaces. Only private sector has invested in this project to open the public space. This is the first model being seen in Korea. It will be a landmark for the education and cultural purposes of Osan, which is children-friendly city. We will make good use of a plaza. We are going to enjoy performances, exhibitions, and music together. A culture of a plaza will be promoted, and citizens will be able to enjoy the space again. The Plaza of Imagination will be the plaza for education, culture, and economy. People are gathered at the cities for their own reason, and those reasons will become stories, and the stories will make the values of the cities. Therefore, cities, and especially Osan City, must be a city that people all want. That is why Osan City imagines again today.
Did you enjoy the short break? We met during the break time. Osan's new innovative approach for the new possibilities and unlocking the potential of the full range of the Osan City. Eco-friendly green learning city, Osan. It's a real landmark of the Osan City. It's a real pride of the Osan citizen, of the learning city. After the short break, we would like to move to the third thematic presentation session. The third session, the theme is the healthy and sustainable learning city through civic activities. So first of the case, we would like to again invite the Cork Island. Mr. Dennis Barrett again. Please.
On Monday, March 30th, 3 days following a request from the Minister for Housing, Planning and Local Government, Owen Murphy, Cork City Council established a community response forum led by Cork City Council. A dedicated community support helpline was set up running from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week to help ensure that vulnerable members of the community or those living alone could access deliveries of groceries, medicine and fuels and avail of social care supports if needed. It was the support infrastructure set up to support this service that has set Cork apart from other local authorities. The newly expanded city was divided into 16 distinct areas, each with a local authority staff member as lead organiser, with the HSE and An Garda Síochána forming the key trio of response agencies. Supporting each of these areas are a small and dedicated group of volunteer and community organisations, our community leads. These are typically people on the ground, familiar with the people in their area, their needs, and where appropriate, their vulnerabilities. These are true COVID heroes, people without whom the area teams could not hope to reach those most at risk. People whose local knowledge is invaluable and in some cases actually life-saving. We will now hear from a number of people who have been working closely on the ground with our community response team.
Community groups were formed to help individuals, to help the areas around Cork City, and really that call has been answered incredibly.
We came together during the COVID crisis to meet the needs of our people, really, by offering meals and wheels, grocery drop-offs, medication drop-offs, or even just having a chat with someone on the phone who was cocooning, isolating, or the most vulnerable within our community.
And we're very lucky that there are people to answer those calls.
The impact that this has had on our community is that more people are now involved in our community.
Lots of the people around have been supportive of others, and they're getting help.
But this isn't just about the elderly. Youth are vulnerable as well. And you know what? Zoom has zoomed into our lives. We have Zoom cookery classes, Zoom music classes, and Zoom really has linked people in these challenging times.
To see the community being involved in their community has lifted the spirit of the community and has made them aware of the work that needs to be done in the community.
So when you're trying to deliver services, for example, very basic services like food, a place for somewhere to sleep, support for people around mental health issues, addiction issues, access to healthcare, access to housing supports, everything had to change. So we had to learn to adapt very quickly and do things very differently. And I have to say that the response, the staff and the volunteers across the city, not just in Cork Simon, but across the city, was tremendous. And they delivered for us in spades.
There is no power without unity. We can believe the collaborative power of the citizens. We can learn from the Alan Cork's presentation the value of the voluntary civic participations, power. How can we mobilize? How can we support the voluntary group of the citizen? And also, how can we support for the marginal, the vulnerable people? There are a lot of the vulnerable people in our society, the disabled, the multicultural groups, and also so many vulnerable groups. So how can we find the good solutions? Maybe I think the Island Cork gave us the good solution and also the good idea. Thanks again for the Island Cork. And the next, also I would like to invite Republic of Korea, Gongju. I already mentioned Gongju is a very old city, but simultaneously, Gongju is very new and modern city. So I would like to invite Gongju. How's your healthy and sustainable learning cities? Customizing strategies, please.
Hello everyone, I am Lee Ji-young from Gongju City of Chungcheong Province of South Korea. We joined the GNLC in 2020 and we became a member city for the Learning for Health and Well-being. We're very honored to be with you. So now let me start a presentation about Gongju Village Records activist. First of all, general facts about Gongju. We have 104,000 citizens and 65 schools right now. So, and then 26% of those who are over 65 years old. So we are an aging city and education city at the same time. So lifelong learning is really important for our city. We want to make a forest where people can learn together. And this is the lifelong learning system passed on the village level. So with the Lifelong Education Council, we have different education-related divisions and centers that provide the lifelong learning. And especially as the force of the Life Learning Center, the community center is joining together, and then experts are also working together to promote the programs there. And next, daily learning of regionally based citizens. We utilize humanitarian related resources to connect together with the lifelong learning. In harmonious communication, we help citizens be engaged more in the village activities. Now let's look into some of the examples. First, 정안면 village activists. So they find the region's assignments and create various activities from them. And this program started in 2019 and has been continued for 3 years this year. And they record the region's story and share it with the residents, students, who are the next generation. This then shows how narratives such as the old village traditions that disappeared, legend, market days are being uncovered. And it is also recorded mainly on the origin of the place name of the village or the person. So the materials and interviews will be collected and village activists edit them together. This is Cheongan Village number 1. The records collected by the first village activists were published into a book, and then they discovered the meaning of Gangdari and then Gwangjang Market, which does not exist anymore. Next is the second village activist, Cheongan Village number 2. So they talk about the Hapsim Bridge, which were built by the residents. And they talk about the stories of Song Seong-ri independent movement. So likewise, the life learning include not only the knowledge acquirement, but we need the cooperation from the citizens. We need all interest groups participated in these programs and share the voices together. So our continuous life learning is important. Thank you very much.
Wow. Better than expected. It's amazing. Old but new Gongju. We met the historical trace, and among the Gongju village, there are a lot of the very active and very dedicated community workers. So it's really amazing storytelling approach and really village-based, village-centered approach. It's very impressive. Thank you so much. And now I would like to invite another Australian case of the Windham City. Could you please say some about the Windham, the Miss Diane Taba, please?
Hello, my name is Diane Tabar. I'm the coordinator of learning community at Windham City. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land where I'm speaking from and pay my respect to the learning, culture and sharing that has taken place and will take place by their leaders past, present and emerging. First, some context. Windham is located in southeastern Australia in the state of Victoria. Our boundaries cover areas of urban, rural and coastal development. Population is over 288,000 and we're one of the largest and fastest growing municipalities in our state and country. Almost half of Windham residents were born overseas and are from 162 different countries. Windham City Council employs over 900 people, making it a major employer in the area. Agriculture, construction, education and healthcare industries make up the other main areas of employment. Unfortunately, Windham recorded more cases of COVID-19 than any other council area in Australia. High numbers were largely due to major clusters in aged care facilities and an independent school, and a significant population of vulnerable people. Despite this, we acknowledge that in a global context, Windham has fared relatively well. Windham experienced massive job losses during the pandemic. Other impacts included negative impacts on mental health and well-being, below optimal levels of physical activity, and related negative health impacts as a result of lockdowns, isolation, increased rates of anxiety and depression. Our work as a member of the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities is driven by our learning community strategy. And I'll give 3 examples of healthy and sustainable learning through civic activists that derive from the learning community strategy actions. First, the Wyndham Learning Festival. The theme last year was Healthy Learning, Healthy Lives, with its philosophy that any learning is good for our mind and body. This year, we've decided on the theme Re-emerge, Connect and Thrive. The Learning Festival strives to encourage people to try something new and highlights the learning opportunities in Wyndham. It's coordinated by a diverse group of learning stakeholders and activists from across Wyndham. With life slowly returning to COVID normal, the festival is seen as an important way to address the physical, social and emotional health needs of the community. A further example is the Young Scientist of Wyndham competition. VJ is a long-time Wyndham resident and she's on a mission to encourage young people to love or at least get involved in STEM. After graduating from the Wyndham Building Blocks Community Leadership Program, VJ has single-handedly run a Young Scientist of Wyndham competition in 3 learning festivals. The competition encourages young people to solve a community problem. For example, Wyndham's recycling dilemma, creating wealth out of waste through the application of STEM. Each year, about 20 competition entrants have submitted their designs, models and ideas and have been judged by a local panel of experts. A final example of civic activism is a collaborative project we've embarked on with the Learn West Network, made up of 6 neighbouring councils in the west of Melbourne. These council areas all had similar experiences and challenges emerging out of COVID. Our communities had lost jobs and confidence, mental health issues were increasing, there were increasing levels of depression, anxiety and psychological distress. By pooling our resources and networks, we've developed the idea of the Learning for Earning Festival. The festival aims to help our communities in a united way to gain knowledge in starting or changing careers, including upskilling and understanding dominant and emerging industries and opportunities for the future. The festival offers 30 one-hour live online events. You can find more detail on the Learn West website. Check out the Wyndham Council Learning Community page for more details on our project and reach out to us through email or LinkedIn. We love partnerships and cooking up innovative programs with our global partners.
Wow, more and more. I could learn a lot from the wonderful experiences. Thank you so much for your sharing the outstanding experience of the Wyndham City. In particular, the Lifelong Learning Festival, the slogan, Happy Learning, Happy Life. I hope and I expect today's our meeting will be the happy learning and also the happy life and the happy society. And also the Learning West Festival. The gateway to learning is also very impressive for me. Still, it is first coming event, the May 27 to 29. So from the tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, the Learning West Festival will be continue. Although we can be there directly in the offline base, we would like to review and meet and sharing the experience with the Wyndham City's Learning Festival. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation and sharing the outstanding learning best practices. Now, I would like to move to another Korean, the new GNLC and the clusters member cities, Dobong-gu, also located in the metropolitan Seoul, Republic of Korea. I would like to invite Ms. Hyun-kyung Moon. Could you please introduce your outstanding and very interesting learning cities strategies through civic activists? Please.
So what kind of lives can we lead after retirement? So the women who stop working, what do they need the most? Is there any way that we can be happy together? Dobong sprouts together, like dobong. After retirement, I was having many different thinking. What should I do? And I wanted to live for myself. Lifelong learning is possible if you are physically and mentally healthy. After retirement, I'm enjoying my life. So I was an ordinary housewife, and I lost my confidence before, and I was not involved in social activities that much after getting married, but I was searching for a new job, and I wanted to develop new capabilities and for the new sectors, and I came to know what I am interested in after getting some lifelong learning, but it was not easy. Through lifelong learning, I could strengthen my capacities and capabilities and challenge myself in the new sector. And I could find the new values of myself. So most of the students are housewives or those who do not have jobs or who retired, and they lost their self-esteem, but they said they could heal themselves after learning English language. They could regain the confidence, and I could feel the happiness that I did not intend to have. I'm teaching these people, and I feel that life learning can give happiness to people. And the most common and the most basic element we need is the happiness that we can get from learning. We are the space where 20,000 people visit every year, and some of the high school visitors became volunteers and citizens as well. So they enjoy every single creature here, like the flower and grass. So that is why this place and space is not operated by one person, but operated by citizens altogether. The genuinity of lifelong learning comes when we connect to people, and that is the path that we have to go continuously. We prepare for the second round of life and grow together through lifelong learning of Dobonggu.
Very unique Dobong series strategy for the responding and revitalizing of the resilience of the city. Dobong, the very unique capacity building of the community workers. And nowadays, we call the humanity literacy. Traditional literacy is just reading, writing, and arithmetic. But nowadays, the new concept of the literacy is the humanity literacy. So I think the Dobong is one of the best practices learning series for securing the humanity literacy. Thank you so much for the wonderful, admiring best practices introduction. Thank you so much. And again, move to the European country. My dearest colleague, Balazs Nemes. Hi, how are you? Please deliver your wonderful cases and sharing the outstanding best practices with the Korean and all over the world colleagues. Could you please?
What we do is demonstration how civic activists work for well-being and social inclusion in Pécs, Hungary. The first project is an OVA grant-supported peregrine project where the House of Civic Communities with its partners work for social inclusion. One example is Conscious Way of Life, a very exciting program for young mothers who would like to develop their knowledge and skills for healthy living. The second one is creative and experience-based space, whereby local members of the community can work together and paint and create drawings in a special form in the heart of the city. They can draw, they can paint, work on the walls, they work on the floor, and work together for community, for better health and well-being. The third example is Kiddie Ladder, that parents, young mothers and fathers can come together and share good ideas, experience, and exchange practice on how to bring up their kids. A second project-based example is a crowdcast program of the Pécs Community Foundation, where they collected donations, for example, for the support of Association of Parkinson patients in the community, people with disabilities, to develop their own lives through community programs, special physical education program, and so on and so forth. A second example is the Pécs Basket Association. This group of people try to collect and share organic food. They also represent local farmers. A third example is how the local community in a small street and the neighborhood organize so-called Vince Stream Regatta for young kids to compete. And the final project is People First Pécs, to develop and promote accessible locations in town for people with wheelchairs to have good access and equal opportunities. I think this is to demonstrate Pécs is a city, a learning city for health and well-being.
Thank you so much. To creating the future-oriented learning city for health and well-being, the Pécs selection. Pécs choice is the consciousness raising, the voices raising as a human being, and also the facilitating the way of life. It is very impressive. So, one of the lifelong learning policy and the methodology is the experience-based learning. So they choose the newly experience-based space program, including the artistic culture. I think the Pécs is one of the Renaissance city through the lifelong learning. The citizens of the Pécs really enjoy the joy of learning, and also the closely link with the so many universities of the Pécs. So, and one more, in particular exemplar case is the for Parkinson patient. They send a very special care program in the context of the lifelong learning. It is also for us very good benchmarking point, I think so. Again, thanks. Introducing the wonderful and the fantastic case for us. Thank you again. And move to the Korean cluster member cities. Jincheon-gun. Jincheon is rural and urban. It's complicated, very special area. So how do they utilizing the civic activist energy? How do they utilizing this energy to the creating the new wonderful Jincheon cluster city genesis? Please, could you explain your city's wonderful case.
So hello, I am Lee Young-hee. I'm going to talk about the social health and cultural well-being, the case of Jincheon City. I'm very honored to share our cases. Today, I want to talk about the new projects that are going on in our city. First, I want to talk about the business background, what we are going to do, and the ultimate purpose. So the new project is a social network project for the Flower Grandfather again. So this is a project to establish an urban system so that the elderly alone and the elderly male can enter the social network again and actively live for the healthy life through lifelong learning again. So why are we focusing on these people? So let me explain about the background. First, if you see the graph in Korea, the number of seniors living alone is increasing. And secondly, the senior citizens who commit suicide is #1 among OECD countries. Especially the statistic that shows the suicidal rate for those who are over 65 is very overwhelming. And thirdly, you can see that the participation of a male are lower than female. And if the age goes up, the participation rate goes down. And if you see those who are using the care service, the user rate is 90% and 78% in Jincheon, and males service users rate is lower. So the cases are like that in Korea. And if you're a male, if you're more senior, and if you live in the agricultural areas, the participation rate is lower. And then we do have the welfare service, but it is not well used by the male. So that is why we started to think about some ways to promote for the male elderly, why they stay inside their home and why they do not use the services. So that is why we are focusing on those people. So what are we doing now? So first, relevant organizations like Life Learning Department and Citizen Welfare Division and different welfare centers gather together and we'll make a collaborative system. Second, we will utilize the activists and we will make the human book PD, where we record the history of male elderly, and we will also dispatch cook and psychological experts for consulting services. And thirdly, in the second half of this year, we will hold the event so that they can gather together, and we will continue this project in the future. Now let's talk about the ultimate purpose. We will give opportunities for participation and they can rethink about their time in the past. And we will also teach them how to cook so that they can cook for themselves. And we're going to provide the consultation services to provide more comfort and stable lifestyle. And ultimately, we want them to get out of the past form of their senior daily lifestyle so that they can enjoy more stability and comfortness inside their home. And we want to build a sustainable system. And we're going to start the project from next month. Private, civil activists will be at the center to promote this program together. Thank you very much for your attention and listening.
Wow. Send the biggest hands to the Jincheon city. We would like to support the new project. It will be successfully conducted in the special learning city Jincheon. Can you imagine the Flower Grandfather Again project? Particularly the senior citizen, that most of them are living alone. They are too much alienated. They are the real marginal people in the city. That's the reason the Jincheon select the new project for their senior citizens lifelong learning cities. I hope it will be continuously success and conducted for your continuous sustainable city development. And next is the Montella-Jolie from France. So Ms. Aminata Diawars, Ora, please could you explain about your Montella-Jolie's very unique and very wonderful best practices for creating the civic activities centered, healthy and sustainable learning city. Please, could you?
Let's start this presentation with a few words about Mantes-la-Jolie, which is a French city member of GNLC since 2017. We are located in the suburb of Paris, and we are a multicultural city. Today, we want to underline the action of a civic activist organization, which name is Le Collectif des Femmes des Garennes. Mantes-la-Jolie is a city full of local initiative and civic activists. It's that why this is part of the DNA of our Learning City project, to underline, to glow up all the local initiatives bear by our communities, such as Le Collectif des Femmes des Garennes. Mantes-la-Jolie is divided in 3 administrative areas: Le Val-Forêt at the west side, Le Gassicourt in the middle, and Le Centre-Ville at the east. The district of Les Garennes is, as you can see in the map, in the district, the huge area of Le Val-Forêt. You can see the district of Les Garennes, which is in the red line on the map. The Collectif des Femmes des Garennes, or Collective of Women from Les Garennes, is a local feminine association created in 2002 by women and for women and children. The goal of the association is to promote mutual aid and solidarity at district level. The district is the neighborhood of Les Garennes, and they act for promote intercultural dialogue to revitalize social life in the district of Les Garennes, to support parents in their responsibility toward education, and they organize activities for families. The civic activist organization, Le Collectif des Femmes des Garennes, is organized with an executive committee and with volunteers, which are involved to promote all the action toward local community of Les Garennes. Thanks to several actions, the civic organization Le Collectif des Femmes des Garennes organized since 2013 strong action toward families to promote good practice in health and well-being area. The Collectif des Femmes des Garennes used the game as a support for learning in families. As you can see in the picture here, healthy diet action were led with professionals of dietetic and with children and their parents all in the really fun atmosphere. Le Collectif des Femmes des Garennes is partner of the Regional Health Agency since last year. It's a great recognition of the quality of what they have done previously, and it's a great opportunity to strengthen their commitment in disseminated good behavior against COVID-19. For this purpose, the Collectif des Femmes des Garennes organized several workshops in our local center life, which goal are to explain the interest of each behavior against COVID-19. They are using a game mode for spread good practice for keep the virus away. Several workshops in different topics were organized and will be organized, such as how to say hello without touch the hand, why wear a mask, and how to bear correctly, how to be sure to respect social distancing toward a public of families, women, and children in a recreational way. Make the choice to choose this initiative bear by the Collectif des Femmes des Garennes was for Mantes-la-Jolie an opportunity to make a crossover between inclusion and equity issues and health and well-being one. We want to thank Ms. Sally Coulibaly and all the women involved in the civic organization, and thank you all to had attend to this presentation.
Thank you so much. To meet and to learn from the French learning city is not usual. So it is very precious occasion for us to meet the Mantes-la-Jolie's experience and your choice for the learning policies. Particularly, I can find and I can learn from the concept of the revitalization and also the collaborative associations among the civic organizations, and the highlight and point out the issue of the gender issue, the women's issue, and the senior citizens issues, and intercultural dialogue issues. It's not familiar and not unusual cases in the lifelong learning city. So that kind of the perspectives, I would like to send my deep thanks for Mantes-la-Jolie's presentation. Thank you again. Now, we would like to have another session for question and answers. The first question is to Cork. The role of civic activities in Cork helped with supporting the most vulnerable people in the city. In a time of crisis, what are the plans of the city to learn from this for the future community support for vulnerable people? Could you please give some response from the Dennis Barrett?
Thank you, Professor Choi, and thanks again to our colleagues in Osan, who we have really enjoyed working so closely with for these 2 years, and well done on a great event today. To answer the question, we have now in our 16 districts of our city a local team of civic activists, and while they have responded to the pandemic, we now want to engage with them in a range of other initiatives, including lifelong learning, health literacy, and local activities that they will select themselves, that they will lead from. So they are local leaders, and we feel as a city council with all of the partners in our city that we can really work closely and follow their lead. So that is our plan for the future.
Thank you so much. The local initiatives. I've been so many times the island Cork. I can find easily the local initiative and the grassroots levels initiatives to the top level of the cities. So I think that is the very strong point of the island Cork's citizens, initiatives, and the leadership, particularly focused on the volunteerism. Thank you so much for your good response. As a second question, may I suggest the Gongju city's answers? You mentioned about the village activities and also the utilizing the village recording civic workers. If you make And if you conduct this kind of the project, there are a lot of the record. Is there any the future plan? For example, the archiving or the database, or how is your future plan for strong support for the village record activists? Could you give some the response for this question?
네, 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 네, 공주시 평생교육사
Thank you very
이지영입니다.
much. And I am Ijiyoung from Gwangju City.
네, 저희는 이 마을 활동가들의 마을 기록이
So
마을
the records
활동과 평생학습에 대해서 공부하면서 지역 활동을 고민하게
are
되었습니다.
now utilized for the lifelong learning.
네, 우리는 마을 사람들이 기억하는 마을 이야기를
So we
기록하기로
want to
했는데,
record the stories that are remembered by the citizens.
네, 예를 들어 노인분들이 돌아가시면
For
마을의
example, let's say
이야기도
if a
문화도
senior
사라집니다.
passes away, then the story may disappear if we don't record.
그래서 우리는 마을 이야기를 주민들과
So that is why we are working together with the citizens to record the stories
그리고 다음 세대를 살아가는
so
아이들과
that we
함께
can pass
나누게
down to the
되었습니다.
next generation.
네, 그리고 우리는 이 마을 전체 마을을
And
5년간
also,
저희가 계획을 해서
we have 5-year plan.
계획을 해서 각 마을 이야기들을 책이나
For this activity, so that we can publish these stories into book
전자책 그리고
or
영상
ebook
등으로
or videos.
아카이빙해 나갈
We are going to
계획입니다.
archive in many different media forms.
네, 마을 활동을 하면서 저희가
So
중요한
as
것은
we work on these activities, what is important is
주민들이 주체적으로 참여하고
the
실천하고
active participation by the citizens
그리고 나누는 것,
and sharing together.
네, 그리고 우리의 삶 속에서 다양한 학습들을
And
주민들과
continue
함께
lifelong
만들어 나가는
learning in our
것입니다.
daily life together with the citizens.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The experiences and the future plan of the Gwangju city is amazing. They would like to create and the capacity building for the local village workers. They support for the historical archiving, like a time capture and also the recording. So it's really wonderful activities. So I would like to support and send the big hands for the Gwangju city's great works. Please never forgive, never give up, and please continue the wonderful historical works. Okay, now I would like to invite the Windham City. Is your learning city strategy changed much by what has been learned since it commenced, and in particular in the last year? Could you give some response for this question?
Yes, thank you, Professor Choi, and also a quick and heartfelt thanks to the cities of Osan and Cork for coordinating such a great meeting. Lots of inspiring stories today. So the answer to the question is that the goal of our learning community strategy is still the same, and that underlying philosophy or goal is to mobilise all types of learning to drive the social, economic, environmental and cultural life of Wyndham. And the key to achieving that is a shared vision and a partnership approach. So those things haven't changed, but how we've gone about achieving the action plan and pursuing the goals of the learning community strategy sometimes have had to change. The example I gave in my presentation around the Wyndham Learning Festival, you can see that the festival is still an important way to celebrate the many learning opportunities that exist in Wyndham and to encourage people to take part and try something new. We had to embrace a new virtual world that we all found ourselves in, and thankfully we were able to still run the Learning Festival, but it was completely online last year. And we found that we could support some of our event hosts in that new online world too. And we even invited some global hosts to join in. So we brought a bit of the world to Wyndham and took Wyndham to the world. We also collaborated on the Global Learning Festival, which some of you are aware of. That was a new, it was a new project. It was a way of reaching out to our virtual colleagues and our virtual communities. And Dennis's point about a cross-sectoral integrated approach that really resonated with me around the Global Learning Festival. Other parts of the action plan, we had to cancel some of our actions. We had to adjust other actions or postpone events. But I think ultimately the way we developed the learning strategy and the action plan was written in such a way that actions in the later years of the plan were deliberately left vague so that we were able to build on what we had achieved in earlier years, but also we were able to build in some flexibility around what's possible. We didn't realise that at the time, it was very timely during the pandemic because it allowed us to modify some actions according to where we find ourselves and what was possible for our partners. So we really, you know, I think we can't say strongly enough that the achievement of our strategy really relies on our partners and our collaborations that we make. So it's important for us to connect with our partners and see what was possible. And going forward, we continue to do that. So thank you.
Thank you so much. The Wyndham City's social, economic, and cultural, multi-contextual, partnership-based approach is really amazing and impressive. And also the celebrating the all stakeholders' participation for your wonderful learning festival. So anyway, thank you so much for your good response. And first is the question for the Dobong City in the Seoul Metropolitan. So could you explain for us how the Dobong City's civic activists, although in the midst of the corona pandemic, how do they continue their non-face-to-face lifelong learning activities? Could you please introduce the special, your solution? How do you respond for this kind of the hard situation?
안녕하세요. 도봉구청 들리시나요?
Can you hear me?
잘 들립니다.
Yes, we can hear you.
안녕하세요. 도봉구청 평생교육사
Hello,
문현경입니다.
I am Moon Hyun-kyung from Dobong.
저희 도봉구는 시민 활동가들이 디지털 도구를 좀
So
활용해서
we are using
다양한
digital
활동들을 지금 하고
devices to
계시는데요.
promote many different
첫
activities.
번째 소개해드릴 사례는
The first
도봉
example
온라인
that we
평생학습
showed was
박람회입니다.
online lifelong
도봉구 대표
learning
유튜브인
exhibition.
도봉봉
We
TV를
have our
통해서
YouTube channel,
실시간으로
Dobong
저희 지역
TV,
최초
and
온라인
in real
박람회를
time,
개최했는데요.
we have
시민
hosted the
활동가들이
exhibition
참여를 통해서
online,
시각
and
공연도
with the
해주시고
participation of the
홍보 영상도
citizens,
참여해
we could do
주시고
some
온라인
performances
체험
and we
부스도
could
참여해
show promotional
주셔서
videos.
시민 활동가들이
So
참여를
civic
해주신
activists
현장감 있는 체험
participated all
학습에
together to
참여는
show
어려웠으나
many different
성공적으로 할
cases,
수
even though we
있는
could not
그런
actually
기회가
provide offline
되었고요. 저희
experiences.
유튜브 최다 영상 조회수를 또
And then
기록하며
we
이
recorded the highest
박람회가
number of views on our
시민분들한테
Dobong
되게
TV
인상 깊은
after
박람회가
hosting this
남았고요.
exhibition. So it was very
두
impressive
번째로 또
to the
소개해드릴
citizens.
사례는
And then
저희
the
도봉
second case
교양대학입니다.
is the university.
도봉살롱이라는
So we
이름으로
have
저희
a
지역의
education
숨겨진
program called
역사
the
문화
Dobong
이야기를
Salon.
3회에
So
걸쳐서
we are
저희 지역에서
having 3
활동하시는
rounds
시민
of
활동가분들을 통해서
programs
들어보는
to
시간을
listen to
가졌는데요.
the programs that are done by the civil
유튜브를
activists.
통해서 녹화 송출을 하다
So
보면
we record and
이
broadcast through
송출
YouTube.
기간이나 이런 부분에 한계가 있는데
So in
지역
this way,
활동가분들이 이 영상에 참여해
be faced
주시고
with some of
하시다
the
보니까
limitations,
그
but civil
한계를
activists are
극복하고
participating
저희가
together.
영상
So
구독을
that is why
지속적으로 가능하도록
we can
제작이 되어서
promote
지금까지도 많은
further and then make
시민분들이
more people
관심을
subscribe
가지고
our TV
네,
channel. So
참여를
that is why
해주시면
we are getting a lot
좋겠습니다.
of attention from
그
citizens.
부분은 모두가 쉽게 접할 수 있는 이 디지털 도구를 활용해서
So by
생활동화들을
utilizing these
통해서
easy to
저희
use
도봉구만의
digital
가치를
devices,
담아내고자 노력하고
we are
있습니다.
trying to show the
앞으로도 더
values,
열심히
the only
노력하는
values that
도봉구가
we
될
can find in
것입니다.
Dobongu.
감사합니다.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations for your successful online lifelong learning expo. Although we are experiencing the deep dilemma of the non-face-to-face, the pandemic, but they never give up their activities and they very actively conducting the online lifelong learning expo. Congratulations again. And I would like to move to the Hungary Peach city. Peach has many community programs designed to motivate people and include people. What is your city's experience of having good and accessible public spaces and community buildings as places to support these activities to increase and develop? Could you give some the response from the Balazs professor? Okay.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. I think my city is quite lucky to have a number of physical facilities to host those designated programs which aim at promoting health and well-being in town. One is one source is the city-owned cultural and community centers, and one identical example is the House of Civic Communities, where there are more than 70 individual civic groups hosted with their own programs. Another example is the physical infrastructure of civil society groups of their own, and in several parts of our city, in the districts, you will find a number of community houses as well. So, responding relatively shortly to your question, we have good facilities to a number of programs. And I think it is also important that these community infrastructures serve the local public to strengthen and develop their own neighborhoods through programs based on the needs of community members. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Balazs. I would like to also send my big congratulations for your very strong infrastructures and the facilities to provide all kind of the lifelong learning opportunity for the citizens. So further mobilizing the infrastructure and mobilizing the all kind of the facilities. I looking forward to your successful organizing the lifelong learning city. And thank you so much for your the response for my questions. Okay, and the next, for the Jincheon city, you introduce a lot of the Jincheon's the senior citizens lifelong learning programs. But is there any the senior people typically living alone? How is the current status? And is there any special supporting project? For example, the human book producers creating courses. What is this? Could you explain about this course? Very unique program, I think so. Could you please?
예, 진천구 전체 인구의
So out of the total Jincheon's population, 16% are living alone and over 65 years old.
21%는
And then
독거노인이고
21% of them are living
그중에
alone.
30%가
And
남성
30% of them are male who are living
900명
alone.
정도가 되는데요.
about
이
900
900명
people.
정도의 남성 독거 노인의 생활상을
So
들여다보니까
if we look into their life,
가족과 세상으로부터의 소외되고
they were marginalized and
고독한
isolated
섬에
from
갇혀서
the family and
사회적
community,
소통을
and they were just
하고 있는
captured inside their
독거
home,
남성 노인들이
and
많았습니다.
they were just
그래서
living
이런
alone.
일에서 사회적 소통의 장으로
So from that perspective,
나오도록 하기 위한
we
도구로서
want to bring
휴먼북
them out,
PD가
take them out of
역할을
the
할
houses,
것입니다.
and then this human
휴먼북
book
PD에
PD
대해서
will
간단하게
play an important
설명을
role.
드리자면
So if I may
휴먼북
explain,
PD는
the human
영상이나
book PD
포스터, 그림, 글 등으로
utilizes images
다양하게
and videos
독거
and
남성
photos and
노인들의
pictures all
삶을 표현할 수
together
있는 시민
to
활동가라고
express
할 수
the
있습니다.
life
그래서
of those who
이런
are
시민
living alone.
활동가들을 양성을 통해
So
가지고
we will foster these civil
진천군의
activists
사회적 건강을
to
도모하는
promote the mental
소중한
and
학습이 될
social
것으로 기대를
health
합니다.
of Jincheon-gun.
Thank you so much. Your explanation about the real current status of the population living alone, senior, and also the supporting for them, the Jincheon city, preparing the social communicative networking project. One of the representative project is the human book producer creating programs. It's very interesting programs. So I hope in the nearest future, it will be one of the grand projects of the Jincheon city and spread the concept to the other similar kind of the community. Thank you so much again. And finally, the Mangtela Jolie. I would like to ask, which law can play the learning city process to strengthen the civic commitment of the collective of women from Le Garnet? How make stronger their actions toward local families? Could you give some response for these issues, please?
Yes, thank you, Professor, and thank you to all the staff of the city of Osan to organize this meeting. Thank you to Cork and to URL to give us the opportunity to share some interesting initiative. Some answer to your question. I think that the learning city process is really an opportunity to make stronger the action of the collective des femmes de Garennes because it's based on peer learning and networking. Thanks to the learning city culture, we really support the action of Le Collectif des Femmes de Garennes, and we try to disseminate it in other districts of our city. They start in the district of Les Garennes, and now the action is also made in other districts, in 4 other districts. And it's this idea to share, to learn from others, and to disseminate what works in all the city of Mantes-la-Jolie. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It is very interesting case of the Regaren, the program for the peer learning, and also the action plan, collective intelligence networking project. It's so wonderful approach, I think so. So I hope and looking forward to sharing your experience from now with all other colleague learning cities, particularly on the cluster cities for well-being and health. Thank you so much for your wonderful response. Now, as one of the final process of our meeting, we would like to divide it into 3 groups from now. 3 English group and 1 Korean language group. So the total, we will divide the 4 groups. So you can enter the virtual special rooms following the divided groups. So our discussion will be continued during the 15 minutes. So after 15 minutes, in every groups, please select the general rapporteur And when we get together in the plenary session after 15 minutes,
Recording
very
in
briefly,
progress.
please sharing what do you discuss and what is your meaningful outcomes of the discussion. So please share in the online later. So from now, according to the divide of the groups 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So please enter the virtual room and we meet again after 15 minutes with the general.
Hi, Aminata.
Could you please enter the mini conference room? You can find the sign of the mini conference room. Please click the mini conference room and go to the virtual, your special room, please.
We are in the
mini conference room. In Korean, 소회의실.
Are we now in this breakout room number 3 or?
I think it's a room number 1 and number 2. This is a room number 1, I think.
Hello. Okay, I didn't have the opportunity to choose.
Hello.
Yeah. Are we in the mini groups already?
We are. Yes, I think we are now in the small groups of this discussion. Yeah.
Okay. And do we have something special to speak about, or do we need only to discuss the presentation that we saw?
I think it's just a discussion and sharing about it, but I'm not sure.
Yes, I think Christina, would you like to lead the discussion? It could be.
I feel that we are more than.
I think it would be good if Christina, if you were okay.
I think we are all of them here.
Yes, I think I can do that. I'm not sure if
No,
everybody hears me. I hear a lot of
there is
other
a mix
people.
of presenters and an audience.
Hello, I think we are in the break room, right?
Yes. Hi, Siobhan.
Hi. Hello, I'm from Thailand.
Hello.
Chiang Rai.
Hello.
Gotta change my view. Gallery view.
Hi, good morning. My English is very, very bad. So.
Good morning. Hello.
The thing is just to understand if we are all in one group and
Okay,
we
so
are in discussion
let
2.
me
I see here in the bottom of the screen, discussion 2. Okay.
Yes, discussion 2.
Okay, this is Steve from Osan. I think everybody's already in the small conference room now.
Introduce themselves.
So
maybe where they're from.
Could you mute your mic?
Okay,
thank you very much.
Gabriel Rios. I'm from Argentina, Villa Maria. I was here just watching and learning. We coordinate another cluster, the cluster, well, I don't remember the name in English. I will, and I tell you.
Okay, so
yes.
Please, could you mute your mic for a while? I want to introduce the Christina Drews from the UIL. I want to
Hello, okay, sorry.
ask her to lead this small conference room. So could you mute your mic for a while?
I'm from Chiang Rai, from Thailand. I'm Orange, or you can call me Emma. Actually in the tea house, you can see my surroundings. And actually I'm the advisor for Chiang Rai municipality from Thailand, but I have attended the conference. This is like second time. Also pleased to meet you all.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? This is Christina Drew speaking.
Okay, good.
Diane, do you want to go next?
Yes, thank you. Very pleased to meet you in this breakout room.
I'm Diane Tabar. I'm the coordinator of
Diane
from Wyndham City.
Diane.
In Victoria,
Diane, can you hear me?
Australia. Yeah. And I'm in my spare room, as you can see behind me. which has really become my office because we've been working from home for, I don't know, a year and a quarter since March last year.
Diane, thank you so much. Again, I
people.
try to, because we are really behind the schedule, so I don't want to be impolite, but I think we can make use of, you know, the
Carmel and
Hello? Can you hear
hello
me?
everybody.
Can people hear me?
I am from Page Learning City, and I'm a civil activist, but at the same time I'm a researcher also, researching learning cities and learning communities. And I was very happy to be here and see all the wonderful examples. And I'm even more inspired now than I was before. And I would be really happy if we could share these examples further in our communities, because some of them I think we could apply here and implement here, which would be wonderful. And then we could continue to exchange on the experiences in our local communities. I think it would be wonderful.
Thank you. Can you show me a sign if you can hear me? Because
I had a little bit of issue with the video from Page. I don't know if anybody else had the problem with the sound.
Something was, but we couldn't hear that when we checked the sound, and I don't know what happened or why it was. We are sorry for that.
Perhaps
maybe we can
to share it again in a different one.
Yeah, dear participants, can you hear me? Can you just let me know, because we are running out of time and we wanted to discuss a little bit the
Antonio is not here
presentations.
because he had to leave, but I'm here, still here. I'm Isabel. I'm Isabel Machado, and here in the Division of Education and Healthy.
Just give me a second, and I'll
section
check the
here in
technical
Orange.
issues.
And as Carmel say, we were very glad to see all the presentation and all the work that has been done or is being done in all these cities. It's very nice to see. Yeah.
It is. It's great to see the things that you think might work in your own city. I think that's where the real collaboration starts to happen, with the real uses. Valencia.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Sara. I'm from the Secretary of Health in Bogota. I'm the director of the Center for Education and Research on Health. And we are really happy to be here to learn from the different experiences. We were taking notes also because there are some programs that are not just similar, but are complementary to what we are doing. We are really happy to share this space with you so we can learn more and to develop further questions in this space. So thank you, and congratulations to all the cities also for the great job that you.
Dear Yoon, can you hear me? I'm not sure if this is a technical issue because I'm trying again and again, and I think most of you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Dennis. So
let's
make use of the. Sorry, can I just?
I think I can hear audio from.
Actually, I'm talking on behalf of her. It's okay.
Oh,
I think maybe there is a technical issue because I'm restarting again and again. And I hear Shoban, I think, because I think we should make use of the last minutes. You know, we saw different presentations, but I'm.
Hello. Oh, Mervat. Hello.
Hello,
I think
hi.
there is this technical issue.
We're just doing a quick.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
sorry,
I need to.
Was not
This is emergency.
working with me.
Can everybody
I'm Dr. Mervat from Aswan, and
because
I'm the focal person for the UNESCO Learning City network, and also for the UNESCO Aswan Creative City network.
I don't know who it is.
I'm supporting the Aswan governor and the governorate for the implementing all the
because somebody connected the voice
about
rooms, so this is the can't control the from the manager. So this is the problem at the moment. Okay, so okay, all right. So now it's quiet. So I want to transfer to the Christina to lead this workshop number 1. Okay, Christina.
Yes, thank you so much. So thank you. People started to present themselves. I think we're running out of time. We are already behind the schedule. So I think making use of the last minutes, maybe you can, you know, give some feedback to the presentations we saw. So we had presentations regarding the environmental issues, then the use of the digital technology, and of course the involvement of civic activists. And I'm myself very, very yes, pleased and happy to see all the active, experiences and best practices from so many cities. So since I won't start looking for a rapporteur, but maybe kindly, if you have some feedback directly or a question, because here we have now the opportunity in a smaller room to, exchange directly. So I would be really pleased to get a little bit of feedback and how this, best practices can be really of use for you, for your learning city, or if you have something similar already in place. I think that could be really beneficial. So if somebody wants to take the floor after all these video presentations, please do so. I think now the technical issue is solved. So I see we have now a couple of other learning cities joined us here in this breakout session. From Thailand, from France as well, and we have here also the presenters with us from Montjoli and Pech in Hungary, and Dublin as well. So maybe some immediate feedback that I think is always useful, especially also from our new learning cities in Thailand, for instance. I know most of you met already in the subcluster meeting.
Christina, could I suggest Jeremy Durand from Every Cours Quran might like to share some examples himself also, because he also has some very good practice. But I think there was such a wide range of examples today. There's a lot for us to take away back to Cork and to consider.
Absolutely, yes. I think Jeremy also wanted to send a video, but couldn't manage time-wise. So I think it's a good opportunity. You're here. Jeremy, bonjour.
Bonjour, hello everybody. Yes, just two experiences from Every Cours Quran. I'm the director of Learning City and lifelong learning for the city. The first is the free psychological consultations for students faced with the psychological distress experienced by students during the various period of confinement. The city and the several of its partners have reacted by extending of creating new psychological support initiative. Different associations or teen and youth shelters have set up telephone lines up on day and night and extended their consultation hours. Two initiatives of physical consultation are entirely free of charge, twice a week by appointments, and free of charge upon presentation of the student card. There are consultations with psychologists in an health center located in the heart of the city, in the shopping center, in the immediate vicinity of university residents and the campus of the high schools. In addition, the HAPEZO Association for the Prevention offers free and confidential consultation to students in the city by telephone, video conference, or in person in the university and in the student residence. These actions are partly financed by the city and intended to last as long as necessary within the framework of partnerships for the mental health and of young people and residents. That's the first experience. For the second experience is a solidarity grocery store by and for the students. The health crisis has been very painful for students. The closure of shops, restaurants, and bars are not allowed them to work in addition of their studies. This temporary job allows most of them to meet their financial needs for food and basic supplies. Nearly 13% of students did not have enough to eat or acquire basic hygiene materials during these 2 periods of confinement. To respond to these problems, students for the university and an engineering school created 2 associations to open 2 social grocery stores. This solidarity action allowed them to collect foodstuff and equipment from supermarkets, market gardeners, or directly for suppliers to provide resource baskets to about 150 students every Thursday from January to April. That's the 2 experience of every Corcoran. Thanks a lot and apologize for my English.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you. That was really also helpful to mention and to refer to the students, because very often, I mean, we see that here from the German learning cities as well. The focus is very much on the formal education and younger school children, and then students are a little bit forgotten. This is the case as well that I received from the German learning cities. Thank you also for referring to the mental health issue. And I think it was also outlined by you, Dennis. I mean, that youth, the whole crisis and pandemic will have an impact on the future generations. So we have to be aware of this and take it into consideration for all that we are doing right now, actually. Any other remark? Now it's the time we can discuss.
And I suggest Marisol Tariba speaks from Termi. Marisol has joined us, our network as well, and she also would like to participate today if she would like to comment now.
Marisol is a colleague from UIL. She's not representing Termi, so I think it's somebody else.
Oh, somebody else. No, my apologies.
Yes,
I mistook her
Termi.
name. Yeah. Maybe Natalie might like to come in from Wolverhampton.
Hi, sorry, Dennis. I've been having a few technical problems on my computer. I think we're just finding it really positive to, especially in these very uncertain, difficult times, to look at what other cities are doing around learning for wellbeing. In Wolverhampton, we've got WV community champions who've been going around in some of the more difficult, hard to reach communities and helping people to learn and understand about the benefits of having vaccinations and things like that. So we're really seeing in the examples today how learning is playing such a vital role in these really difficult times. So it's yeah, we're really enjoying this opportunity to share best practice. I think there's quite a unique element of this cluster. There's so many vibrant, exciting things going on despite these really challenging, difficult times.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, as always. You're active member of the GNLC. I think it was also very interesting to see that most of the cases really took into account inclusiveness, inclusion. So we saw a different range, I mean, starting from youth and children, and then really focusing on men or elderly men living by themselves. And I think that was really great. And also the example of Mont-la-Jolie, and also from the beginning of this whole conference, seeing all the civic activists, and the majority of them, I mean, at least today in the videos, were women. So I think this is also something that we should not forget, and also on our way to the international conference, which focuses on health education and the global response.
Can I have a comment?
Yes, please. Yes, please go ahead.
This is just the aspect of challenges coming from communities related to the leaderships of cities claiming economic developments, and education and training should help promoting such claims. And I think in communities where we have to rebuild and turn things to support our citizens' needs. Sometimes it is a huge challenge how to balance in between the social and the economic. Although employability developments do underline the need for lifelong learning, but I think it is also very much important how to raise the skills and competencies of people to be members of their own communities and to provide enough inclusive activities for health and well-being as well. So I think this is something we want to highlight. Thank you.
And just before we close, I wonder, Philippe, would you like to add something from the youth perspective in Clermont-Ferrand? I think we're about to close, but I think it's important what you say.
Your mic is
yeah, we are launching for these next days and weeks a very new education.
To come back the plenary session back,
everybody can use and share, and also
did you really enjoy the active participation for discussions and the panel sessions? I would like to invite, there are 3 groups. 2 of them is the English language group, and 1 is the Korean language group.
I cannot
so the
hear
first group
the moderator.
Is your laptop.
Yes, now.
Could you say something for your response? Mr. Dennis Barren. How was going in the first group? Dennis? Could you please?
Thank you, Professor Choi. And we had a very engaged conversation. Christina Drews from UIL was our facilitator. And really the feedback is that there are so many fantastic examples that have been shared with us that make us think about our practices in our own cities, and in some cases that we can take and try and apply in our own cities. And we also heard from examples that weren't shared from Évry-Courcouronnes in France, and also from Wolverhampton, and also from Clermont-Ferrand in France. So we had extra exchanges of good examples, focusing on students and their need for supports during the pandemic, and on youth leadership in Clermont-Ferrand. And in Wolverhampton, some really interesting examples using sport as a means of communicating with vulnerable people and excluded groups. But all in all, it was a very rich range of examples, and it is a wonderful opportunity to get a quick glimpse into a city and see the best of what that city is. And it really has inspired us to continue our links together as a cluster and city to city. And we look forward to the conference later in the year, hosted by Yansu. Thank you, Professor Choi, and thank you to Osan.
Congratulations for your fruitful outcomes, although very short discussions, but the full of the benchmarking and the inspiring point you already got. So thank you so much, and congratulations, Mr. Dennis. And how about the second group, Dian Taba? Could you share some response of your group's discussion, please?
Yes, thank you. So our group was, we spent a lot of time introducing ourselves and just reflecting on how we all enjoyed the presentations and how inspiring it was to hear examples from around the world that we could all adopt for our local communities.
Parce que l'intérêt de ces équipes territoriales, c'est bien d'articuler aussi la partie éducation nationale avec la partie.
And there was some reflection on how our virtual world that we've embraced due to the pandemic and due to lockdowns, wondering how things will progress in that way as we get back to a post-COVID normal, as we get back to live groups, live events, and wondering around that blending of events and hybrid gatherings, but also being conscious of not leaving people behind in terms of digital access. And also being thankful for the virtual world because it's allowed us events such as this. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Within a very short time, all of the members joined the very active discussion process and get a lot of the fruitful outcomes from your group discussions. Again, congratulations and send my deepest gratitude for the member. And how about the third group? Is it the Korean language group, initiated by the Dr. Jae-young? Okay, could you share some of the response?
예, 참 많은 도시가 참여한
Many
포럼이었습니다.
cities participated in this forum.
2년 전에 독일과
2 years ago,
아이슬란드에
we met
크리스티나,
with Christina
데니스
and
반가웠습니다.
Dennis
발표
in
중간중간에
Ireland. Many
주실
years ago, I was
부의장님
especially pleased
되새김하듯
with you
발표 내용을
and
정리해
regarding
주셔서
the 3 presentations.
매우 안정감 있게 진행된
the
포럼이었다고 생각합니다.
summary points of
환경과 기후,
presentation
디지털
and
기술
had a
활용,
discussion in a very
시민
stable
활동가를
manner
통한 지속
regarding
가능한
climate
방법과 웰빙을 위한
response, digital
학습 등
technology, and
다양한
civic
영역에서 발표가
participation.
진행되었습니다.
Very
특히 발표한 내용 중에 코로나 팬데믹이 그 중심에 있었다고 해도
COVID-19 was at
과언이
the
아닌
center of the
것입니다.
topic of the 3
코로나19와
presentations.
건강과 웰빙은
COVID-19
매우
health
밀접한
and well-being are
관계이면서도
closely
이번 포럼의
related
세
to
가지
each other.
세션과 매우 인상 깊게 연결되어 있습니다.
So they were very impressively linked to the
정부의
topic of the
노력만으로 이 위기를
forum.
극복할 수
Especially
없으며
the government
시민
alone cannot
활동가,
overcome
단체, 자원봉사자와 함께
requires cooperation
행복한
from
학습을
civil
통한
groups and
행복하고 안전한
volunteers
삶을 만들어가자는
in
내용으로
order to
정리될 수 있지
achieve
않은가 그런
happier and
이야기를
healthier
나눴었고요.
life for all. That's
그것이
what we
바로
discussed.
아까
And
최윤실 부의장님이 얘기한
as
휴먼 리터러시,
Professor Cha said,
사회적 포용이 아닐까 싶습니다.
human literacy, in
이것이
other words,
우리
social inclusiveness is
워크숍
very
방에서
important.
나눴었던
That's the discussion
감동이었습니다.
we
감사합니다.
shared.
Thank you so much for your inspiring and very anyway, the wondering. Thank you so much. It's really unbelievable until the final stage, final moment. All of the members still remains and still very actively with the glittering eyes. We will still remain in this online virtual conference room. Before inviting the Osan city mayor's concluding remarks, I would like say something as a concluding remarks. Great cities made by great citizens. Great citizen made by great lifelong learning. So our long parade towards the healthy and the well-being lifelong learning city never stop, never give up. Our long march will be continued. I hope, looking forward to meet again and continue our second season discussions in the Yeonsu, the 5th ICLC in 27 October. I would like to meet again without face, no, with a face-to-face meeting, I hope. Our long and inspiring and impressive benchmarking and sharing the experience, never ending, continue to our learning cities, growth and development. Again, send my great gratitude for the colleagues and the participants of this conference. Really, it was really amazing session. So thank you again. And I would like to, as a final stage, invite the great city mayor, Osan, Kwak Sang-woo, as a concluding remarks. Thank you so much. Looking forward to see you again. Bye-bye.
First of all, GNLC, thank you very much for participating for a very long time. We have talked about the sustainable, healthy city and the definition, and then we look into the learning for health and well-being. I was wondering if you found the answers. I could know that the sustainable cities and healthy city means we have to respond together, together with the citizens. I hope that this webinar was useful for you to find the directions that we can take for the future. And based on the experiences and knowledge that we share today, I hope that we will better cooperate together with the partnership cities and the civil activists together so that we can continue our project and our goal. I hope to meet you face to face without the risk of COVID-19 in the near future. I wish you health and luck while structuring the health and well-being city with the learning. This concludes the webinar and cluster meeting for the Global Network of Learning Cities. Thank you very much for spending your precious time together with us. Thank you.